guys. So, understood section 196. Quickly, what all we saw. Company cannot have managing director, manager at the same point of time. The maximum tenure is 5 years. Reappointment at once. Maximum tenure at once is 5 years. Reappointment not before 1 year before the expiry of his tenure. Disqualification, he should not be below 21 or attained 70 years. Sir, more than 70. SR possible. Sir, if SR have not get, special resolution have not got, but still majority of them agreed, I can still go ahead and ask for CG's approval. Next one, he should not be an insolvent at any given point of time or adjudged undischarged insolvent. You should have not default paying of creditors and composition with them. Anytime convicted of any offence for a period of imprisonment more than 6 months, or additional condition as per Schedule 5 Part 1. It said what? Not been sentenced to imprisonment for any period or fine exceeding 1,000 rupees under any of those 19 acts. And again the same thing was there, 21 years, 70 years, and detained for any period under Coffee Posa, conservation of foreign exchange, and he should be a resident of India. Exception is SEZ, 12 months period. And sir, how to appoint? Board resolution plus shareholder. Ordinary resolution required. If at all ordinary resolution not possible, that is what? Special resolution. SR also you did not get CG approval. MR2 within 90 days. Sir, after the managerial person appointed, then you can file MR1 within 60 days of appointment, DIR12 within 30 days of appointment. Sir, whatever acts done by the managerial person before the shareholders approval and after the board's approval, in between those period, whatever he has done, everything will be valid. So 196, you are talking about the terms of appointment. Now let us go to the next section, very important section, which talks about how much can I pay to the managerial person. Listen very carefully, guys. See, the main thing in this particular two sections, 196, 197, first understand what comes where. What is 196? What is Part 1 Schedule 5? What is Schedule 5? What is 197? When comes, what comes when? You just remember that first, yeah? And then go to the in-depth things of what is what, and let us know more about it. Is this clear? Very important. Pakka, all of you. Sir, section 197 talks about overall maximum managerial remuneration. Sir, what is the maximum salary a company can pay this managerial person? Yes. And so 197 has two parts. Overall maximum remuneration and managerial remuneration in case of absence or inadequacy of profits. So what is what? I've given you a scenario here. I've just explained it detailedly here. So what is that? A managerial remuneration shall be as per Schedule 5. Yes, managerial remuneration, whatever is to be paid, shall be as per Schedule 5 Part 2. Part 1, conditions, terms of appointment, 19 Acts, Coffee Posa, 21, and Resident India, 4. Remember, Part 2 talks about how much can I pay. Now, sir, there are two types of companies. What is that? One is a company which is making exorbitant profits. Sir, example, Reliance Industries. Exorbitant profits. Sir, run by Mukesh Ambani. So the second type of company, again Reliance only, which is not at all making profits, or it is making profits but limited. Very little. Inadequate. Yes. So there are two types of companies. One is a company which is making very good profit. The other one is company which is not at all making profit or little profit. Yes. Now, these two are also covered under section 197 and Schedule 5. We'll see how. If at all you are paying a managerial remuneration and if at all your company is making a lot of profits, sufficient profits, then the remuneration shall be as per section 1 of Part 2 of Schedule 5. Guys, remember very carefully, Schedule 5 has been differentiated, bifurcated into 4 parts. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, Part 4. Part 2 has further been bifurcated into sections. Section 1, whatever we saw, terms of appointment. So part 1 we saw under section 196. Now part 2. Sir, what is this? Section 1 or 197. A managerial remuneration payable in case of company having profits. So if a company has lot of profits, then you follow section 1. Section 1 it says follow 197. So basically these two are one and the same. So whenever you are paying remuneration, go to schedule 5. Section 1 says, that is schedule 5 part 2 section 1 says that whenever your company has lot of profits, pay the remuneration as per section 197. Yes, so managerial remuneration payable in case of company having lot of profits. Now section 2, managerial remuneration payable in case of no profits or inadequate profits, meaning you do not have sufficient profits to pay enough for this managerial person. First of all, did you guys get the intention of this particular schedule 5 and 197? When to follow what? Yes, so for you to understand even better how this schedule 5 is given, I have given you a summary. Just look at the summary, what is there, and you will understand, yes, okay, whenever I am telling this is what I am talking about, okay? Yes, sir. Now see, schedule 5. Yes, schedule 5 has been bifurcated into 4 parts. Part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. Part 1 you saw under section 196. Yes, Coffee Posa, 19 Acts, Resident India and 21 and 70. Yes, part 2 talks about Panam, remuneration. Under part 2, yeah, you have another 5 subsections. Yes, part 2 is there. Again, it is bifurcated into section 1, section 2, section 3, 4 and 5. So, no other parts as section. So, whenever you are seeing section, it is assumed that it is coming under part 2. See, section 1 under part 2 talks about remuneration payable by companies having profits. Section 2, payable by companies not having profits or inadequate profits. Clear this part, all of you? Yes, this is what we just saw. Okay, sir. So, managerial remuneration bifurcation is clear, sir. A company having profits should follow schedule 5 part 2 section 1. Section 1 says follow 197. So, let us follow 197 when you have profits. Sir, my company does not have profit or I have only little profit. Now what to do? Come follow schedule 5 part 2 section 2. Pakka. Went inside. Okay, sir. Now let us start the section. Now, before starting the section, I have given you a note here. Sir, what is that? Now, in this section, wherever you see percentage, can you see here there is something called 11%? All the percentages are the percentages of net profits of the company, which is calculated as per section 198. So whenever I say the company can pay 10% to him, that means it is 10% of net profits of the company. Sir, how do I calculate net profit? It is again there for us. We'll be seeing it under section 198. So wherever you see percentage, it is percentage of net profits of the company. How is net profit calculated? As per section 198. And this is just Bahubali 1. I am telling you character introductions where what will come. Half of the people won't understand what is what. That is how this particular section is. Yes. So to just understand what is where, let us take it as a 2 minutes. It's okay. Clear? After that, no one can stop you from, having things inside. Clear? Okay, sir. Now, let us start section 197.1. Sir, so I am talking about a company which has adequate profits. So 197.1, case of adequate profits. So the company has money. So section 1 says go and refer 197. Yeah, so I am referring 197. So 197 subsection 1. Total managerial remuneration in any financial year paid to directors. Sir, directors, it is including your whole-time director, managing director, manager, everyone put together. Total remuneration shall not exceed how much? 11% of net profits for that financial year. Sir, meaning what? If at all my current financial year is 2021 and 2022, the maximum remuneration I can pay to all the directors put together shall not exceed 11% of the profits I make in this financial year. Remember that, in this financial year, not preceding financial year, shall not exceed 11% of the net profits for that financial year. Sir, 11%? 11%. Yes, sir. So there is a provision. What? So guys, there is one more funny thing in this particular section. What? The law says you cannot do. Oh, is it, sir? Law says you cannot do. After that it says you can do. So meaning what? It says you cannot do, and it will give you a shortcut. It says, see, you cannot do, but you follow this, you will be able to do. This entire section goes like that only. Yeah, a very easy and a very informative section. Let us see. Yeah, okay, sir. So we got to know the maximum overall remuneration, the total managerial. So remember this, total managerial remuneration in any financial year shall not exceed 11% of net profits for that financial year. Okay, sir. Provision to pay more. See, just now they said 11%. Now they are telling you can pay more. How? Shareholders approval required. That is, pass a resolution. So you can pay more than yes, sir, you can pay more. Shareholders approval required. Yes, you are very good students, you know. Whenever law just says shareholders approval or pass resolution, I wantedly did not write ordinary here. You need to think here. So whenever the law just says pass a resolution, now you write it is assumed to be ordinary resolution or refer to your articles of association. If articles is silent, pass ordinary resolution, that is sufficient. Yes, and schedule 5 is to be complied. So pass an ordinary resolution and comply with schedule 5. So ideally what says 197.1, pay maximum 11% including everyone. Not per director, 11% overall, everyone included, 11% of net profits of the company. Clear? Sir, I want to pay more. Take ordinary resolution, pass ordinary resolution and comply with the schedule 5. Perfect. All of you, first proviso. Clear? Okay, sir. Sir, second proviso. Sir, my company has 5 directors. For 4 directors, I am paying 0.25% of my net profit. For 1 director, I am paying 10%. Can I do it? Don't you think again, overall they have given 11%. Don't you think again subclassification should be there? So, subsection 197, subsection 1 talks about overall remuneration. 197, provision 2, second proviso, talks about individual limits of remuneration. First one overall. Now per person, one person, how much can he get? So to a whole-time director, managing director, So guys, here there are 2 subclassification. What? For our understanding, I'm telling it to you this way. There are 2 subclassification. One, remuneration payable to a whole-time director, managing director, manager. The second one talks about other than whole-time director, managing director. Yes. So basically this you can understand this particular thing as non-executive and executive director. So you can understand this thing as executive, non-executive director. So how much maximum can you pay for an executive director? How much maximum for a non-executive director? The law directly does not say executive and non-executive. The law says to managing, whole-time manager, and to whole-time director or manager. Now see, what does the law say? When a company has only one whole-time director, one managing director, one manager, maximum remuneration payable shall be maximum 5% per director. For one person, you cannot pay more than 5%. If there is only one person is there, then you can maximum pay 5%. 5%. Yes, remember limits are very important. Next one, sir, if there are more than one managing director, manager, whole-time director, yes, now maximum 10% together. Maximum 10% together. Sir, let us look at an illustration. Now imagine my company has one whole-time director. Sir, how much can I pay him? Maximum I can pay him 5% of the net profits of the company. Sir, my company has two whole-time directors. Overall, I can pay them 10%, not more than that. Is this clear? All of you, did you guys understand? Sir, there is one manager and there is one whole-time director. How much can I pay him? Again, 10% and not exceeding that. Sir, if there is only one manager, I can pay him maximum 5% and not more than that. Sir, if I have managing director and manager, how much can I pay him? Yes guys, quickly, how much can I pay him? Now, by now you should have understood. 10% nonsense. You cannot appoint a managing director and manager at the same time. Yes? Oh sir, we missed it sir. 196 subsection 1. Clear? So far, all good? Pakka? Yes, come on. Sir, one person, maximum 5%. Two, more than one. Then maximum 10% together. Yes? Okay sir. Sir, how much can I pay to people other than whole-time director and managing director? For people other than whole-time director and managing director, you can pay, if there are also managing director, whole-time director and manager, you can pay maximum 1%. If there are no whole-time director, manager and managing director, you can pay maximum 3%. Whatever are the, sir, this percentage, is it per person or everyone put together? I have given clarity in two places, where in the heading also I have told you, and also I have given you a hint here saying, is it per person or individual limit? Yes, clearly we have written here, it is per individual, it is individual limits. Yes, I have also given it here. Percentage is remuneration payable to one person. So 5%, one person, 1% to one person. Yes, clear? Sir, now we did not understand the second part. Listen very aram se. Take deep breath and leave deep breath. Okay? Deep breathe in, breathe out. If there are also managing director, whole-time director, manager in your company, and there are also, assume I am taking these people as non-executive director. It is not directly written in the act. For our understanding, we are writing. Sir, who can be these people? Your nominee directors. It can be your independent director. It can be any such people. So, independent director, sir, can we pay him salary? Remember, profit-related commission can be paid. Independent director, we have seen. Yes, sitting fees, profit-related commission can be paid. That is this. However, remember guys, independent director cannot get a stock option. You cannot pay him, you cannot give him ESOP or sweat equity. That cannot be given to an independent director. Okay? Just remember. So, if there are also whole-time director, managing director, manager, in such case, for every individual non-executive director, you can give maximum 1% of net profit. If there are no whole-time directors or managers or managing directors in your company, only non-executive directors are there, then you can pay maximum 3% for one individual, that is one non-executive director. Sir, even now we didn't understand. Imagine executive director, non-executive director, total remuneration that you can pay. Yeah? Sir, if there is one executive director, there are no non-executive directors, what is the maximum remuneration I can pay? How much guys? Executive director? Pakka, yes sir, 5%. Sir, there is two executive directors, but there is no non-executive director. How much maximum I can pay? I can pay maximum of 10%. Sir, there are two executive directors. There is one non-executive director also. How much can I pay? The overall total remuneration shall not be more than 11%. Sir, where is it given? 197 subsection 1. Clear? Now, sir, how much can I pay these two people? Maximum 5% per person. So two people are there. So maximum 5% into 2, because one person get 5%, other person get 5%. Sir, how much the non-executive director gets? The non-executive director gets 1%. Why? Because in your company there are also the full-time managing director, manager, as well as whole-time director. That is the reason you will not be given maximum salary. The maximum will not exceed 1%. So the overall remuneration 11%. Now imagine in your company there are no executive directors at all. No MD, no whole-time director, no manager. But there are non-executive directors. Now how much remuneration can you pay him? The maximum remuneration shall not be more than 3%. Yes, so for one individual you can pay up to 3% when there are no managing or whole-time or manager. Yes, all of you understood this logic. This chart, if you want to write down, it will be helpful for you. Yes, you want more permutations and combinations. Yeah, sir, what if there are 3 executive directors and 2 non-executive directors? How much maximum I can pay? Maximum will not change, guys. Maximum at any cost should be 11% only. Yeah, of course. Ordinary resolution, schedule 5, I told you, the act. But let us go with normal situation. Yeah. So individually, how much you will pay? This should not exceed 10%. How much ever you want to pay. If you want to pay 3%, 4%, 3%, your wish. But individually, it should not exceed 5% and overall should not exceed 10%. Yeah. So there are 2 non-executive directors. Together, you pay them 1%. Yes. All of you understood. This is a maximum remuneration. Correct? All of you understood. So when there is managing director, whole-time director, manager. So you are given 11% now. However you want, you can distribute amongst them. If you want, you do one thing. You give these people 9%. Yeah. You can give 1% each to these 2 people. That also you can do. Yeah. Sir, okay, can I do one thing? I'll give them 8%. I'll give these people 1.5% each. Can I do this? Tell me, can I do it or not? It is within the limit, no. 8 plus 1.5, 11%. Can I do? Yes? Correct? Absolutely not possible. Nonsense. If your company has MD, WTD, manager, the maximum you can pay is 1%. So this is the maximum you can pay and not beyond that. Pakka. Understood all permutations? All of you? Sure? Okay, sir. You should say from there only, yes, sir. Understood, sir. Yeah? Okay, sir. Now, in this particular case, where I told you, where there are no whole-time director, managing director and manager, there is an exception to Nidhi company. There is an exemption given to a Nidhi company. Sir, what is that exemption? There is an exemption given to Nidhi company. What is that? Yes, guys. So there is a small exemption for Nidhi company. So what is this exemption? In case of Nidhi company, the second proviso to subsection 1 of section 197, that is the individual limits, shall apply with a modification. So it will not apply as it is, but there is a modification. What? That the remuneration of a director who is not managing director, nor manager, nor a whole-time director, and he is performing certain special services to the Nidhi, which is specified as per articles of association, may be paid by way of monthly payment, subject to the approval of company in general meeting and also as per the provision of section 197. However, this approval of general meeting is also not required when provided no approval of the company in general meeting shall be required, where a Nidhi does not have a managing director, whole-time director or manager. If the company has these people, then you have to take general meeting approval from the shareholders. If the company has these people, you have to take. If company does not have, then you need not take the approval of the general meeting also. And The remuneration payable during a financial year to all the directors of the Nidhi does not exceed 10% of the net profits of such Nidhi company or 15 lakh rupees, whichever is less. Overall, they are talking about. So, remuneration payable during a financial year to all the directors shall not exceed 10% or 15 lakh rupees, whichever is less, and such remuneration payable under clause B is approved by special resolution passed in this behalf. Yes, so this is the only exception which is there for Nidhi company. Not so much relevant, but yes, just remember. Yes, okay, sir. Now, till now, so far clear, sir. 5%, 10%, 1%, 3%. So I told you, the law says you cannot pay more than this. However, if the company wants to exceed the limits, first one company don't pay, second one company you can pay what? The overall remuneration can exceed how much? This 5%, 10%, 1%, 3%. When? If at all you pass a special resolution and assume you have taken a bank loan or you have taken a loan from a public financial institutions, or there are non-convertible debentures, or there are secured creditors. Anytime you have made a default of these people, not paid loans, not redeemed the debentures, or not paid your secured creditors, you have made a default. Only in case of default, you have to take their approval also. Whosoever default you have made, bank, PFI, debenture holders or secured creditors, whosoever you have made a default, even their approval is required. This condition in this section will be coming, I believe, 3 times. So remember this. Clear? All of you? Okay, sir. So maximum for only one managing director, whole-time director, manager, maximum 5%. Sir, more than one, maximum 10%. Sir, where there are, for non-executive directors, where there is also managing director, whole-time director, manager in the company, maximum you can pay 1% to such non-executive directors. Sir, if there are no WTD, MD and manager, then you can pay 3% to the managing, whoever is the director, basically non-executive director, individual limits. Okay, sir. Clear? All of you? Okay, sir. Section 197(2) talks about remuneration does not include sitting fees. So whatever is the remuneration paid, that is the maximum. So remember, the remuneration, whatever is paid here, it is exclusive of 2 things. That is, 2 things are not included in this remuneration. One is sitting fees. The next one is insurance premium. Again, both the sections we will be seeing in detail, but just have a note here. Yeah, one is sitting fees and insurance premium. Both of them, there is a condition applied. Insurance premium, there is a condition applied. We'll see when we are doing insurance premium subsection. So, remuneration, whatever. Now, assume I'm giving maximum 5%. In addition, the director attended the board meetings in a year. So, maximum I can pay him a remuneration of sitting fees of 1 lakh rupees. This 1 lakh will not form part of this 5%. It is exclusive. Clear? All of you? Pakka? Okay, sir. So, this what is this? Sitting fees is given under section 196 subsection 5. Yeah, we'll be seeing that when we are doing that. Okay, sir. Now, sir, section 197 subsection 3. Sir, subsection 1 is when company has lot of panam, duddu, dabbulu, yeah, rokha, paisa, you have everything. Now, you can follow 197.1. 197.3, company does not have profit. So, you know which one to follow. Part 2, section 2 of schedule 5. Correct? So, in case of absence or inadequacy of profits, the company says what I tell you, they will say you can't do, but it will show you a way to do. See, when the company does not have profits or the profits are not sufficient, inadequacy, the company shall not pay any remuneration to its directors. You cannot pay any remuneration to its directors. Yeah, except sitting fees. Yes, guys. So now what is given in part 2, section 2? Part 2, section 2 talks about when there is no profits or inadequate profits in the company. Yes, sir. So when there is no profit or inadequate profit in the company, this is given under section 197, subsection 3 and subsection 11. Probably if you are referring to the module which is given for May 2021, this limit will not be seen in your book. Why, sir? There are two amendments here. One is this column number 3 and the second one is the word other director. Sir, what do you mean? See, prior to this amendment, whenever there is no profit or inadequate profit, in such time we cannot or we can only pay money only and only to our executive directors. There was no provision in company law at all to pay any money whatsoever to our non-executive directors at the time of loss. Now, this amendment, it gave a way to pay some money even to our non-executive directors when there is inadequate profit or when there is no profit. That is what is this addition of column 3 and the addition of the word other director here. See, where in any financial year a company has no profits or inadequate, it may pay remuneration to managerial person. Managerial person here, basically for our understanding, we'll take it as executive director. Or other directors is added now, meaning any other non-executive director or independent director also. Till today, this thing was not there. A recent amendment which has come in the month of March 2021. So if you're referring to the book prior to that, you will not be finding this column also. Okay, sir. Sir, now what does this particular part 2, section 2 talks about? Sir, part 2, section 2 has two limits, limit A and limit B. Most of the places, most of the people have misunderstood these two limits. I repeat, most of the people, most of the places, they have misunderstood this limit. Sir, why, sir? What exactly it says? See, the law says you can pay remuneration when there is a loss to any executive or non-executive director, not exceeding the limits under A and B. A and B. So there are two limits given in this particular subsection. Now, sir, why do you think people are misrepresenting it? See, they have given that limit A and B. So what do people generally say? You need to follow both the limits. That is, whenever you're paying the remuneration, you need to make sure both these limits are read together, because the condition here is and. That is what the maximum people interpret as. But that interpretation is wrong. That interpretation is absolutely wrong. Sir, why, sir? I'll tell you. Prior to our, all the amendments, this section has been amended like crazy. Many times it has been amended. Prior to amendment, there were two different limits. Sir, limit A talks about a person who is called as a managerial person. Sir, limit B talks about a person who specifically works in a professional capacity. So these were two different limits. They are not, it is not talking about the same thing. But when the law was amended, what did they do? In the professional capacity, whatever limit B we are going to see, in that they have made, the law a little complicated. What they have done, what we'll see as we do. So limit A, limit B, it is to be read differently. It is not together. Clear? Why? How? I'll tell you. Okay, sir. So now limit A. Sir, schedule 5, part 2, section 2, limit A. First thing, when I don't have profits, how much should I pay? Sir, when I am not having profits, obviously my P&L is nil. So what does the law say? Refer to your effective capital. Sir, what is effective capital? There is a formula which we'll see after looking at this provision. So, sir, when the company does not have profit, you need to look into the effective capital of the company. Based upon effective capital, the company can decide how much to pay to your managerial person or to any other director. This is a new column added. Okay, sir. So if your effective capital is negative, less than 0, or sir up to 5 crores, negative or less than 5 crore. Guys, always remember, whenever they use the word less than 5 crore, here we are looking at 4 crore 99 lakh 99,999. Sir, all 4.9999. It is only nines. The moment it is 5 crore, you need to refer to this provision. I hope you are getting the difference. So, sir, if my effective capital is negative or less than 5 crore, so basically 4 crore 99 lakh 99,999.99, then the maximum remuneration I can pay to my managerial person is 60 lakh rupees. Again, people get confused here. Sir, 60 lakh, is it for all the people put together? No. It is per person. 60 lakh per person it is. Sir, 60 lakh I can pay for one managerial person. For one director, I can pay 60 lakh rupees. Sir, per month? No. It is for 1 year. So, whenever the company has negative effective capital or less than 5 crore, the maximum remuneration I can pay is 60 lakh per person. It is per year. Sir, 5 crore, 200 crore, same logic. 100 crore here is 99 crore, 99 lakh, 99,999. 100, you need to consider the third limit. Yeah. So, sir, 5 crore to 100 crore. So, 5 crore inclusive, 100 crore excluded. It is 99 you need to consider. Okay, sir. You can pay up to 84 lakh per person per year. Sir, 100 crore and above, but less than 250 crore, same explanation. Sir, 120 lakh per person per year. Sir, if at all my effective capital is more than 250, then the loss is okay. Now look here. Sir, if my effective capital is 250 crore, the loss is you are entitled to pay 120 lakh as what's a remuneration. Correct. Sir, what if my effective capital is more than 250 crore? Assume 300 crore. Sir, in this up to 250 crore, I will be entitled to pay 120 lakh. Sir, anything over and about 250 crore. So, in our case, sir, it is 50 crore. Anything beyond 250 crore, that is in our case 50 crore, I will be entitled to pay 0.01% of any amount in excess of 250 crore. So here how much is in excess? 50 crore. So 0.01% into 50 crore. Whatever comes, I believe it comes to somewhere 50,000. Right? Calculate and see. It is coming. So I can pay 120 lakh plus 50,000 rupees. Sir, if at all it is 350 crore. So, sir, 250 crore I will be paying 120 lakh, anything about 250 crore. So, 100 crore is about 250 crore. So, sir, anything about 250 crore, 100 crore, again 0.01% of 100 crore. So, this is how I need to calculate if at all effective capital is beyond 250 crore. Okay, sir, perfect. Everything just went inside. Awesome. Now, listen carefully. That is what is given here. Sir, the new limit, whatever has been added. So people, as I told you, till today, they had not covered this other director concept. So you could pay your remuneration in time of loss only to your managerial person. Independent, non-executive directors were not at all included. So sir, now you can pay them also. But there is a slab. How much? Guys, if you remember our slabs, what? Sir, if at all you have profits, per person you can pay 5% if he is a managerial person. Sir, if he is a non-executive director, if you remember our previous thing. Sir, if he is a executive director, 5% per person maximum. Sir, non-executive 1%, same thing here. So, executive is always 5 times of non-executive. So non-executive is to get 1%, executive is to get 5%. Same thing. 60 lakh divided by 5 gives you 12 lakh. So sir, the maximum remuneration I can pay to other director here I have given you here, non-executive or an independent director. The maximum I can pay per person per year, it is yearly. So maximum I can pay, sir, it is 12 lakhs. 60 divided by 12 lakhs, same thing. Sir, here also it is 84 divided by 5, it comes somewhere around 16.8. So it is rounded off to 17 lakhs. Yeah. Sir, this is how they have also arrived? No, don't write off 16.8 approximately into 17. No. Just for your ease of understanding, I have given it to you. Sir, 120 again divided by 5. Sir, 24 lakh. Sir, 120 lakh again the same thing. 24 lakh and 0.01% in excess of 250 crore. Sir, same thing. So this is payable to a managerial person. Sir, this is payable to any other director. Clear? Sir, as I said, what? You cannot pay beyond this. Law says, but law gives you a shortcut. Sir, now what is a shortcut? If you want, you can pay a limit over and above whatever is given here after passing a special resolution. Sir, now if assume my effective capital is 4 crore. Can I pay my director 80 lakh rupees? Yes, pass special resolution. Absolutely fine. No problem at all. Clear? That is what the law says. Sir, now when I'm calculating my effective capital, as on what date I need to take? If at all I am appointing my director for the year 2021, then I need to calculate my effective capital as on the preceding financial year. So what was my preceding financial year's effective capital as on the date of last date of the financial year? I need to consider those figures to calculate my effective capital. Sir, what if I want to appoint my managerial person on the date of incorporation? On the date of incorporation, I don't have my preceding financial year's balance sheet or profit and loss account because this is my first year. Then how do I appoint? Then you need to take the effective capital as on the date of appointment itself. Okay, sir. Sir, third one. Okay, look how people can be. Sir, you have given us, assume if my effective capital is around say 4 crore. If my effective capital is around say 4 crore and my company has losses or inadequate profit. Sir, then what is the maximum remuneration I can pay? 60 lakh rupees per year, correct? So what did people do? People, now assume if at all there is a need of a director for a short term. Sir, then they would have appointed him for 10 months and they can pay him 60 lakh rupees remuneration. No, sir. Whenever they feel they're exceeding the maximum remuneration, they can remove him at that time. Possible? No. Law says whenever you are appointing a person for less than a year. Now assume, say for example, the limits I have given you is per year. Sir, imagine I appointed a person in the mid of the year. Only 6 months is left in this particular year. Sir, then you need to make sure that you are calculating this limit in pro rata basis. So 60 lakh is per year. So what will be for 6 months? So if I take 60 lakh, it will be 5 lakh per month. Yeah, so 5 into 6, sir, 30 lakh is what maximum I can pay. So if at all I have appointed him for a period of 8 months, you need to calculate pro rata. Wherever you have not appointed a person for complete year. Sir, complete year 60 lakh. Sir, less than that, make sure you take a pro rata allotment. Is this clear, all of you? Pakka, A people going inside. Okay, sir, sure. Now, that is what is the explanation I gave you. One is when to take effective capital and the pro rata. Okay, sir. Sir, now I told you limit B. Sir, limit A talks about a person who is a managerial person. Okay. Sir, now the law says as per limit B, you can pay remuneration as per limit A to those people who are functioning in the professional capacity. In case of managerial person or other director who is functioning in a professional capacity. Sir, if there is a director who is functioning in a professional capacity, then you can pay him remuneration as per limit A. Sir, what is limit A? Whatever is given here. Yes. So, sir, now what did you say that limit A, limit B, people will misinterpret? See, this is what I told you. Now they are telling, sir, if there is a managerial person or any other director, they are already covered here, right? They are already covered here. Or any other director, they are already covered, and they are saying, if at all such people, managerial person, or if you are any other director, if you are working in a professional capacity. Sir, what is professional capacity? For that they have given you certain conditions. If a person fulfills all these conditions, then he will be considered as a person working in professional capacity. If he fulfills all those conditions, the law say you can pay him remuneration as per limit A. Sir, what is limit A? Again, 60 lakh. Sir, whatever limits we saw. So people, what did the lawmaker go wrong here? What exactly he went wrong? Here, the thing is, this particular limit B either could have been removed, or for him there should have been a different slab which should have been kept. But here what has happened, a person who is a professional capacity, prior to this amendment, at the time of 2014, this limit B was a different limit altogether. A person working in professional capacity, he was entitled to 2.5% of net profits. Now that limit has been removed. There is no longer this limit. This has been amended. So they are telling a person who has been working in professional capacity, pay him as per limit A. Limit A as it is already covered. This is where the entire matlab happened. Now people who are interpreting it now, what they feel, they need to read it as limit A and B put together. So what do? Generally, many scholars, authors, or many places, what do they teach it as? They teach whoever is coming under limit B, only they should be paid as per limit A. That is how they are interpreting. No, it is wrong. Why? Read the language, it is very clear. In case of managerial person or other director who is functioning in a professional capacity, remuneration as per item A may be paid. May, it is your choice. If such managerial person, so sir, what is professional capacity here? Even that is also not defined. But indirectly we are assuming these 4 points to be the person who satisfies these 4 conditions. He will be considered as what, sir? A person working in a professional capacity. Sir, now what are those 4 conditions? First one, such director should not have any interest in the capital of company, holding, sir, subsidiary. Sir, imagine if at all I am talking about a person who is to be appointed in Flipkart, who is working in a professional capacity. He should not be interested in the capital, meaning what? He should not be a shareholder of Flipkart. Sir, its holding company, Walmart. Sir, its subsidiary company, Myntra. He should not be interested in any of company, holding, or subsidiaries capital. Clear? However, there is one exception. Sir, what is the exception? If at all there is any employee, holding not exceeding 0.5% of the paid up share capital, if he is holding it as per any scheme, including ESOP, it can be sweat equity, any scheme. So if at all he is holding up to 0.5%, then that is exempted. So sir, first thing says a person should not be having any interest in the capital. Exception, a person can hold up to 0.5% of the paid up share capital of the company. Yes sir, okay sir. So if at all he is a person who is not having a capital and is not having any direct or indirect interest, or he should not be related to the existing directors or promoters of the company during the law of the company, again same holding and subsidiary, during the last 2 years before the appointment or even after the date of appointment. So today on my board I want to appoint, say for example, yes. So, sir, if at all I want to pay this person under limit B, this person should not be related to any of the directors or promoters on the company during the last 2 years. Sir, and he should not be related after the date of appointment as long as he is a director. Sir, third one, he should possess a graduate level qualification. Sir, graduate, he should be at least a graduate and he should have at least some expertise. Sir, minimum degree should be there and he should have specialized knowledge in the field in which company operates. For example, if I want to appoint a person as a director of Infosys under professional capacity, he should have a specialized knowledge in that field. Sir, what is the field here? IT. Yes, so he should have a specialized knowledge in that field where the company operates. Any person who is satisfying these four conditions, which one? Not interested in the capital of the company, not related to the directors or promoters in the last 2 years or after the date of appointment, he should have a minimum level of qualification, that is graduate level of qualification. Sir, he should have a specialized knowledge in the field in which company operates. So if these four conditions are met, then he will be called as what, sir? A person who is in a professional capacity. Sir, if a director is under professional capacity, he may be entitled for a remuneration as per limit A. Sir, again, we'll come back here only so he can get money as per this. Yes, don't you think he's already covered here? Yeah, he could have already got the money here. But yes, our law took a U-turn. Yes, ideally that should be removed. Probably, yes, sometime they will make an amendment here. Okay, sir. Sir, now. Sir, now limit A, limit B we saw. So effective capital and people are entitled to get the money if at all the company doesn't have profits. Now, if at all any person should be paid as per limit A and limit B. Basically limit A, if at all you need to be paid as per limit A or you should be entitled as per the professional capacity limit B, then you need to satisfy these conditions again. Sir, now what are these conditions? Your remuneration has to be approved by the board resolution, and if your committee has a nomination and remuneration committee, NRC, sir, these two people should approve your remuneration. First condition. Sir, second condition. If the company has taken any loan or money from, sir, banks, public financial institutions, debentures or secured creditors, these four people, sir, the company should have not made any default in their repayment. Sir, what if we have made repayment? What if we have made default in making their payments? Then you need to take the prior approval of the person to whom you have made a default. If it is bank, bank's approval. PFI approval, as the case may be. So second one, sir, no default. If default, prior approval. Sir, third one, again a problem. Sir, see here, a person who is a managerial person or other director, he is entitled to get the money provided his resolution to get paid is approved by an ordinary resolution or special resolution, as the case may be. So basically, if you are paying as per the limits given in limit A, you can pass an ordinary resolution. If you want to exceed, you can pass a special resolution. If you want to pay as per limit A, item A, However, if at all you want to pay as per limit B, item B, professional capacity, the law says you need to mandatorily pass a special resolution. So ideally, a professional capacity person is being treated more stringent than a normal capacity person. So, sir, if you are a normal director, yeah, managerial person, if you're coming under limit A, you are entitled, if you are passing ordinary resolution, then you can follow limit A. Sir, if you are exceeding that and you have to pass as per special resolution, then you can pay whatever you want more than the limits prescribed in limit A. Sir, if at all you want to pay as per limit B, the law says you need to mandatorily pass a special resolution. This could have been an ordinary resolution. So here also the lawmakers have made the thing complicated. So this is the only reason why people are getting confused in interpreting this particular section. Yes, so these things lawmakers have amended, but they have not amended it completely. So which has given a scope of confusion. That is the reason I am just making it very clear. Okay, sir. Sir, now once you have passed an ordinary or special resolution, such resolution shall be valid only for a period of 3 years. After that, again you need to call them for a meeting. Again you need to pass a resolution to pay more. So once you have passed, that resolution will be valid only for a period of 3 years. Sir, now whenever you need to pass a resolution, you need to give them a notice of the meeting for them to come and attend the meeting. In that notice, you need to disclose certain information to the shareholders. Hey people, I'm calling you for discussing the remuneration related matter. We need to pay to our directors remuneration this year, though we don't have profits. So regarding this, you need to disclose certain information in the notice of the meeting. Sir, what is that? The first one, general information. Sir, about your company. Basically, this is always about your company. You tell them why, what has been the scope, what has been the company's profits, performance, everything. Discuss in general information. Give those details. Sir, next one, you need to give information about the appointee. Sir, who is the director whom you want to appoint and why are you paying him the remuneration? Sir, his details. Sir, his past remuneration, what he was getting till date, any recognition. Sir, his job profile, remuneration, what we are proposing. Yes, so we need to give a in detail analysis. Why are we proposing to pay him money even when we don't have profits? We need to disclose it. We need to disclose this, sir, and other information. Sir, what is the reason for such inadequate profits? Sir, what is the steps taken by the company for improvement? Sir, and what is the expected increase in productivity in profits? Sir, these three information also you need to disclose to the shareholders in the notice before calling the meeting. Okay, sir. And every year the company always comes up with director's report. Yes, sir. In that director's report, under the corporate governance, you need to completely give the disclosure regarding this particular director. Sir, what is this? All elements of remuneration package such as salary, benefit, bonus, stock option, whatever you have been given to all the directors needs to be disclosed under the board report under the heading corporate governance. Sir, what is the details of fixed component, and if at all there is any variable component, that is if you give them targets and if you tell them to achieve, even that is to be given. And sir, what is the contract period, notice period? Sir, every possible detail should be given under this particular disclosure in the board's report. Yes, so if you have given any stock options to any director, then at what discount have you issued these stock options to such directors needs to be disclosed. Clear, all of you? Yes, sir. So yes, guys, so I know it is a little confusing. The major part for you to know under 196 and 197 and schedule 5, first thing, know what and all is there in this particular content, and everything will be clear after that. Yeah. So sir, schedule 5, quickly let us see whatever we have seen. Sir, schedule 5 part 2 section 2, it has two limits. Yes sir. Sir, managerial person, any other person, effective capital, we saw those limits, how much can be paid. Sir, explanation we saw, if it is a fresh appointment, you need to take as per the preceding financial year's profits. Sir, if it is a date of incorporation, it is during the year of incorporation, then you need to calculate the effective capital as in the date of appointment. Sir, if it is appointment for a part of a year, then you need to take pro rata. Sir, the limits can exceed this after passing a special resolution. Sir, limit B is a managerial remuneration which is payable to a person in professional capacity. Sir, what is professional capacity? Sir, he should not have any interest in the capital of the company. Exception, an employee can hold up to 0.5% of the paid up capital. Sir, he should not have any interest or related to the directors or promoters of company holding subsidiary, sir, for a past 2 years or after the date of appointment. Sir, he should have graduate level of your qualification and specialized knowledge in the area of operations of the company. Sir, if at all these 4 conditions are satisfied, then he is eligible under limit B to be paid under professional capacity. Sir, how much can he paid? Again, you need to refer to limit A only. You again have to follow the same limits, whatever is given here. Okay, sir. Sir, if I have to pay under limit A and limit B, you need to make sure these conditions are also satisfied. Sir, what is this first one? The remuneration should be first approved by the board of directors, and if your company has nomination and remuneration committee, even such committee should approve your payment. So next one, the company should have not committed in any default in payment of banks, PFI, debenture holders and secured creditors. Sir, if at all they have made any default, then you need to take prior approval. Sir, ordinary or special resolution should be passed to pay as per limit A. Any managerial person. Sir, special resolution for person who is under professional capacity. Such resolution shall not be valid for a period exceeding 3 years. Sir, whenever you're calling for a meeting to pass these resolutions, you need to disclose to your shareholders the general information about the company, information about such appointee who you are appointing, such other information, and you need to disclose the details of all this in your board report under the corporate governance column. Okay, sir. Is this clear? All of you, Pakka, registered, sure, all of you. Okay, sir. Nice. Now, sir, till now we have seen something called as effective capital. Sir, till now we have been seeing something called as effective capital. Sir, how do we calculate this effective capital? We just saw effective capital under part 2 section 2. How do we calculate it? Very simple formula. Sir, it is paid up share capital, equity plus preference. It should not include share application money or advances against shares. Sir, plus share premium account. Sir, reserves and surplus. Sir, long-term loans. Sir, deposits repayable after 1 year. In this, the special provision, sir, deposits, basically all are long-term people. Everything is long-term. So, paid up share capital plus share premium, reserves and plus surplus, long-term loans and deposits. Basically, everything is capital. Sir, 5. Okay, sir. Sir, in this, you should exclude working capital loans, basically short terms, overdraft, all these are short term only. No. Interest due on loans not funded. Sir, interest due on loans not funded. Basically, funded interest term loan shall be added. If at all in your question, they will specifically ask you, funded interest term loan. If that is given, add it. If it is anything else, they would have given funded, not funded. If it is not funded, don't add. If it is funded, add. While you're calculating your effective capital. Yes, sir. Sir, bank guarantee, etc., and other short-term arrangements shall be excluded. So, if at all they have given you a, okay, I'll tell you once we see the entire thing. So, sir, all this is to be added. Okay, sir. Sir, minus investments except in case of investment by an investment company whose principal business is acquisition of shares. So basically, if I'm a mutual fund company, if I'm a say any investment company, my job is only to invest, then I will not exclude this. In any other case, I have to exclude all my investments. So if a company has excess money, they would have invested in money market, or they would have invested in mutual funds. Those things should be excluded. But if at all the company's business is only to invest, their investment shall not be excluded. That is what they are telling here. Sir, minus accumulated losses, carry forward losses. Sir, minus preliminary expenses not written off. Sir, if I add and minus all this, deduct all this, I will get effective capital. Remember, important. Sir, effective capital can be asked in two ways. They will give you a list of items and they will tell you to calculate effective capital. Or they may give you a company has calculated effective capital by adding and deleting all this. Advise the company whether the effective capital arrived by the company is right or wrong. So there, these things will play a major role, where they would have told you paid up share capital, the company has added share application money and whatever advances it has received. So in such cases, you need to exclude it. That is the reason excluding has been specifically given. If the company is telling you to add, or if the company is telling you only to calculate effective capital, it is easy. You just take paid up share capital, share premium account, reserves and surplus. You need not bother about the other things at all. But if they have given you effective capital and if they are telling you to assess whether it is right or wrong, that time you need to pay attention to these things. Clear, all of you? Pakka? Sure? Okay, sir. Whatever we have seen, the same thing. Under each of that particular provision, I have given you the practice questions then and there only. This can be taken from your past papers. It can be from the booklet, what your institute has given, MCQ, and the case-based questions. I have tried to solve and I have tried to give you examples under each topic itself for you to understand. Clear, all of you, so that you need not refer some other thing for understanding the concept. Yep. Okay, sir. Now, sir, section 197(4). Sir, now you are telling that we have to pay remuneration to the managerial person. Sir, how do we derive how much to pay? I mean to say, how do we where do we give that how much to pay to the director? The remuneration shall be determined either in the articles of association, that is the company's articles, or by a resolution passed, or by a special resolution wherever required. So in these three ways, the company shall decide how much to pay the remuneration to the managerial person. It can be by your articles of association, or a specific resolution, or a special resolution passed. Okay, sir. Sir, now, whenever a director is giving us some services, the director will be giving us lot of services. The law says whatever services he may give us, whatever services. It can be anything. Sir, he coming and advising the company, advisory services. Sir, or he's doing something into execution. He's monitoring the execution. Sir, for all the services, whatever services, he can provide any number of services. Assume service 1, sir, service 2, sir, service 3. For all the services put together, everything put together, whatever is the managerial remuneration you are giving, everything shall be inclusive. Sir, now effective capital, you said, now say for example, my effective capital is 4 crore. I can pay him 60 lakh rupees as remuneration. Sir, or assume my company has lot of profits. I can pay 5% of net profit as remuneration. Now, whatever the director gives us service, any service he's giving us, all those services put together, the maximum I can pay him is 60 lakh. It is not per service he gives us, all the services is included. Everything, no services is excluded. Okay, sir, the law says this. Okay. However, if at all such director is giving us any service in professional capacity, sir, I repeat, if at all any director is giving us any service in professional capacity, this service is excluded in the remuneration whatever you have calculated here. Sir, I repeat, sir, whatever are the services given by the director or the managerial person, everything is inclusive in this limit whatever you are paying. Whatever percentage of profits you have arrived at, or the 60 lakh limit, whatever you have arrived at, sir, everything is inclusive in that. However, the only thing excluded is that the remuneration paid to the managerial person working in a professional capacity. Sir, what is professional capacity? Professional capacity here is not what is given under limit B. Professional capacity here is in very simple. Sir, I'll give you an example. Assume there is a hospital called as Apollo. Apollo hospitals, yes sir. Sir, Apollo hospitals, now there can be certain doctors. See, they are very experienced, very experienced. They are very key resource for this companies. So what do? They would have made such doctors as the directors of the company. Now, the same person, assume okay, there is a person called Mr. A. Now, because the company wanted to retain this person, the company offered him the position of directorship also in the company. So, he is working as a doctor as well as a director in the company. Now, this person is called as professional director. Yes, sir. So I'm not following the professional capacity definition, whatever we followed in limit B. That is different. This is different. Yeah. Okay, sir. Sir, now as a director, whatever services is providing, for all the services inclusive, we will arrive at the remuneration, whatever is given under limit A or as per section 1 of part 2, whatever we saw schedule 5. That is your limit A or your percentages, 5%, 1%, whatever it is. Sir, if at all this person is getting any, now assume, how does doctors work? They will get paid based upon the operations they do. They do not get salaries. Sir, if he does any operation, on that operation he will get a percentage as a cut. Sir, if he does any, something will be there, based upon operation, surgery or anything he makes. Upon every operation or surgery, he will get a percentage of it as his remuneration. Sir, now, whatever is the overall managerial remuneration, that does not include the services provided by the directors working in professional capacity. This is the example. Pakka, understood. So, sir, if 60 lakh is given, if I am paying another 10 lakhs here, it is okay, it is valid. Clear? All of you? Pakka? Yes? Okay, sir. So, sir, now whatever he is getting paid under professional capacity, it has to be approved by the board of directors plus the nomination and remuneration committee. If at all the company has, these two people should give a green signal. saying that yes, this person had the professional experience and expertise required to give whatever services he has given. If these two people agree, then yes, you can pay him anything in addition to whatever he gets in the capacity of director. Now this is called as professional fees or professional remuneration paid to a managerial person or a director working in professional capacity. Okay sir, clear sir, pakka sir. Okay, the same thing I have given you as an example here. Yeah, the hospital example. Yeah, so that you will understand. Okay sir. Sir, the next one, section 197 subsection 5 talks about sitting fees. Sir, now what is the sitting fees? See here, people, the directors, no matter who you are, you can be an executive director or you can be a non-executive director. These people are entitled to something called as sitting fees. Sir, why is sitting fees given? Sitting fees is given in order to pay the directors or whoever, executive, non-executive directors, pay them for attending the board meetings, board or committee meetings. Your nomination remuneration committee, audit committee, even they will be meeting, right? So you can pay them some remuneration. It is like a fees given to them for attending the meetings and giving their decisions. So sir, you can pay the directors for board or committee related meetings. Sir, which director? Every director is entitled. Sir, how much I can pay? The maximum you can pay is 1 lakh. This limit is prescribed under 197 subsection 5. You cannot exceed this limit. Sir, can I pay less than this? Yes, possible. Sir, maximum is 1 lakh. Can I pay less? Less is possible. Yes, sir. Sir, is it like for all the meetings in the year? No, sir. It is per meeting. So if at all my company conducts 8 meetings in the year, then it will be 8 lakh rupees per. Okay, sir. Next, it is per meeting. Okay, sir. Sir, next one. Is it for all the directors put together 1 lakh? No, sir. It is per meeting per person. So, sir, per meeting 1 lakh, per person 1 lakh. Okay, sir. Sir, can I do any discrimination between our executive directors and non-executive directors? No, sir. Whatever are the executive directors getting, the same thing should be given to the non-executive directors as well. Meaning, if you are paying 80,000 rupees as sitting fees to our executive directors, guys, 1 lakh is your upper limit. The company can pay anything up to 1 lakh. Sir, assume if the executive directors are getting 80,000. Non-executive directors should also get equivalent to 80,000 only, not less than that. Okay, sir. So non-executive directors or women directors, there shall not be any discrimination. Whatever you are paying to the executive directors, the same shall be paid to them also. Sir, is it clear? Any doubt? Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Understood the sitting fee? Yes, sir. Now, what does the law say? Sir, now whatever is the remuneration you are giving to the director. Now, we saw the maximum limit we saw. Yes, sir. The maximum limit can be as per section 1 or section 2 of your part A. So, this is when you have profits. This is when you don't have profits. Okay, sir. Correct. Now, the maximum limit, when you're counting the maximum, whenever you're calculating the maximum remuneration, in this limit, again, our sitting fees is excluded. Sitting fees is excluded. Sir, meaning, sir, assume as per our limit A, sir, effective capital 4 crores, sir. Yes, sir, the maximum I can pay is up to 60 lakhs, sir. I can pay my director 60 lakh. In addition, I can pay him, say for example, in my company, we conducted 5 board meetings. So I can pay him another 5 lakh rupees as sitting fee. It is still valid. It is not inclusive. So sir, till now you saw two things. Whatever is the maximum remuneration, two things are excluded. One is your sitting fees. Sir, next one is your professional capacity directors. Yes, sir. So these two people, these two things are excluded from the maximum remuneration. You can pay them over and above whatever you have calculated. This is valid. The third one is also there, which is not included in the limit. All these three important. They can ask you a practical based scenario. So remember carefully. Yes, sir. So whatever I've given. So I've given you a questionable point here. The limit is 1 lakh is per meeting per person. Clear? All of you. Okay, sir. Sir, the mode of payment of remuneration. You can pay the remuneration. It can be monthly, or it can be a specified percentage on the net profits of the company. That is also valid, sir. Or partly by way of monthly remuneration, or partly by way of percentage of net profits of the company. You can pay it any way you want. Okay, sir. Sir, now we have a doubt. What? Sir, assume for the year 2020 and 2021, sir, the profit, the P and L, that is your profit and losses, is always calculated at the year end. So, sir, assume 1st April 2020 to 31st March 2021. Sir, we will be doing our balance sheets and P&L after 31st March 2021. Sir, now the problem is the maximum remuneration payable to our director, assume 5%, let us take the slab. Sir, 5% is always calculated on this year's profit. It is not past year's profit, this year's profit. Sir, this year's profit, whatever I have paid from 1st April to 31st March, whether it is within the limit or out of the limit, I will know only at the end of the financial year. After my profit and loss account has been calculated, only then I will know whether whatever I have paid is within or beyond the limit. Now what to do? You know what does the law say? Yes, sir. Now you pay him from 1st April to 31st March. Yeah. Now at the end of the year, you calculate your profit. Yes, sir, I have calculated. If whatever is the remuneration you have paid, now whatever is the remuneration you have paid, if such remuneration is within the limit, if it is within the limit, then absolutely no problem. We have no problem whatsoever. Sir, what if such remuneration is beyond the limit? Sir, now what do you mean? Assume as per my net profits, the 5% is coming to around 50 lakh rupees. The company has profits. The 5% of the net profits of the company is coming to 50 lakh. Sir, however, I have paid 60 lakh rupees during the year. For this director, I have paid 60 lakh rupees during the year. Now this 10 lakh is excess. Sir, now what to do? The director should refund this money. The director should refund the excess whatever has been paid back to the company. Sir, within what time, sir? The company only will tell the director you need to refund this amount within so and so time. Sir, that the company can give him 10 years to repay. Maximum is 2 years. So it is 2 years or the time prescribed by the company, whichever is less. So 2 years given by the Companies Act or the time decided by the company, whichever is less. The excess money received by the director should be returned or refunded back to the company. Until that time, he need to hold it as a trust on behalf of the company. Meaning what? Do not spend. Do not exhaust it. You need to give that money back within this 2 years or the time given by the company. In that time, you will be as a trustee. Basically, it is the money given to you by the company. You should make sure you are protecting that money. You should give it back at any cost. So, sir, whatever is the excess paid, the company shall get back the money. The director shall refund the money within 2 years or such time decided by the board, whichever is less. Until such time, the director should hold the money in the form of trust. Clear? All of you? Okay, sir. Again, whatever I tell you, what? Sir, law tells you no, and after that it gives you a shortcut. I'll tell you how. See. Sir, if any director receives remuneration in excess of limit prescribed or without the required approval, if you have got the money, he shall refund such money to the company within 2 years, or if there is any lesser period allowed by the company. So, either 2 years or any lesser period as allowed by the company. Sir, until such amount is refunded, he shall hold it in the trust for the company. Basically, he is like a trustee. That law doesn't say go and put it in some trust. That is not the interpretation here. Basically, you should not touch it. That is the meaning. Sir, just now I told you, the law says you should not do it, but law tells you the way to do it. What? Sir, very simple. What? Sir, now, the company feels Papa, our director has worked so hard, it's okay. Whatever this 10 lakh is, it's okay, don't pay. Can the company waive off this money which is to be repaid by the director? The law says no, you should receive the money at any cost. Sure, this waiver is not possible. Whatever is the excess you have given to the director, you need to collect it. You cannot waive it off. This is the provision. Now, shortcut. What? Sir, waiver is possible when the company shareholders come and they pass a special resolution in this regard. The shareholders should agree that yes, we have given more money and we are okay with it, and a special resolution shall be passed in this regard. If a special resolution is passed, then whatever is the 10 lakh rupees, the excess we have given to the director, that will be waived off. You need not return it back to the company. Sir, if at all the company has taken if at all you have taken bank loan, sir, public financial institution, sir, secured creditor, sir, debenture holder, sir, if at all you have made any default, then you need to take the prior approval of such concerned person. If you have made a default in repaying the loan of the bank, then you need to make sure you take the bank's approval. Sir, PFI approval, secured creditors approval before waiving of this excess amount. Sir, which approval should be first take? First, you need to take the prior approval of the defaulted person, whomsoever, where we have made a default. So first you take bank approval. If at all the bank gives you an approval, then come to special resolution, then special resolution. So this will be first and this will be second. People, 90% of the case, when you have made a default to the bank, why will they even agree? That is the reason they will take prior approval from them, and later on you will take an approval of special resolution. Clear? That is the reason they have first put the ball in their court. Yeah? Okay, sir. Sir, there is one more thing which will not be included. Section 197.13. Yeah, sir, now what is this? Listen carefully. Aram se Shanti, listen carefully. What? Sir, every company of late has been a very common practice in India. They take something called as D&O insurance. Sir, what is this D&O insurance? It is called Directors and Officers Insurance. Sir, what is this? If at all there is any non-compliance, or if at all there is any penalty on the directors. See, generally till now we have seen, if you are an employee, don't you do any mistakes in your, now say for example, you are working in an articleship firm. Have you not done any mistakes till date? You have done, right? But have you been punished? Have you been sentenced to imprisonment? Have you been, penalized? Sir, a monetary penalty of 10 lakh rupees. Has any such thing happened to you? No, sir. So, sir, for a director, there is so much of penalty. Every act says the director is only liable. Catch hold of him. If the law is so strict, people will stop becoming directors only. See, knowingly, unknowingly, mistakes happen. If it is unknowingly, if at all some mistake has happened, sir, what to do? Sir, from where to get so much of money? Now, if private placement or deposits, any such thing, or your SEBI, if you have done any mistakes as per that, then the penalty is into crores only. Whatever you have earned, it will go to pay penalty. So what does the companies offer? The companies, whenever they are appointing the directors, they give them something called as insurance. What is that? Tomorrow if something happens and you are liable to pay some penalty, you don't worry, we have an insurance in your name. So such insurance, they will take care of this risk. So sir, imagine I'm appointing a person as a director of Infosys company. This Infosys company will take, okay, there is a person called as Nandan Nilekani, who is the director of the company. Okay, sir. The Infosys company will offer something called as D&O insurance. Sir, but the Infosys is not into insurance. Yes, they are not into insurance. They will take it from an outside vendor. There will be an insurance company. They will purchase, they will buy this insurance policy on behalf of Nandan Nilekani. Infosys will buy from that insurance company. Sir, insurance whatever the insurance policies are, do you get it in Phuket? Sir, what is Phuket? Do you get it for free of cost? Then the company should pay something called as premium. Always remember, these insurance premiums are very expensive. Very minimum is 1 lakh. Minimum, I'm telling you, very small company. I'm not even talking about listed company. The premium you need to pay is 1 lakh rupees because they cover a very big amount. Okay, sir. Sir, who will pay this premium? Generally, Infosys only will pay this premium on behalf of Nandan Nilekani. This happens in all the companies. So they pay this premium. Sir, awesome, sir. Now the question is, whatever is the premium paid, is that amount included in the managerial remuneration? Sir, whatever the premium amount I'm paying, should I add that also in managerial remuneration? Whatever our 60 lakh or 5%, that is that inclusive of the premium? The answer is depends. Sir, what do you mean by depends? Now there are two possible scenarios. What? Sir, the premium is being paid by Infosys on behalf of Nandan Nilekani, and Nandan Nilekani has not done any mistakes. He has not done any mistakes. Sir, when no mistake is done, Nandan Nilekani has done no mistake at all. In such cases, whatever is the premium amount paid for all the years, wherever he has not done any mistake, the law says for all that period, insurance premium paid shall not be part of the managerial remuneration. So when you are counting the maximum limit, if at all I am taking effective capital 4 crore, sir, the maximum amount I can pay 60 lakh, you can pay 60 lakh plus insurance premium. Absolutely valid. Sir, now, sir, something happened and Nandan Nilekani was held liable. He did some mistake and he was held guilty. Guilty is basically where he has accepted his mistake or the mistake has been proven. He has been proven liable. Sir, whenever he has proven liable, then if at all his mistake is proven, he has proven guilty, sir, whatever is the insurance premium you have paid so far, go retrospective effect. Whatever insurance premium you have paid till date, everything will form part of remuneration. Meaning what, sir? Whatever is your 60 lakh, that should include your remuneration. Sir, I have paid something extra towards your premium. If at all I have paid 60 lakh plus premium, then this premium amount will be excess amount you need to repay back to the company. So, sir, two scenarios where managerial remuneration, sir, in that I have given something called as insurance premium. Sir, insurance premium, if at all the director or the managerial person is not held liable, then it is not added in the maximum remuneration payable to the director. Sir, if at any time, if the managerial remuneration, if at all managerial person has been held liable, guilty, go back whenever you have paid from that day, everything add to his remuneration. If it is coming in excess, that person shall repay the amount. If it is coming in excess, sir, not in excess, it is absolutely fine. So that is what is given under here, the chart. So premium paid on such insurance may be treated as remuneration. No, yes. Sir, no, sir, as long as he has not done any default, it will not be paid, sir. Sir, if at all he has done default, then whatever is the premium paid by Infosys to the insurance company will be taken as his salary. If it is excess, he need to return it. Clear? The guilty component. Any doubts here, people? Yes, people. The next one is applicable only to a listed company, which is section 197(12) and rule 5. Sir, what does this particular thing talk about? Now see, when this, let us understand the intention of this section. The law says, see, on a year, you will be paying to your managerial person. It can be your director, it can be your managing director, it can be your full-time director. Year on year, you will be paying some remuneration. Yes, sir, we'll be paying. Sir, year on year, you will also be increasing that remuneration. Yes, sir. The law wants you to disclose in your board's report. The law says you need to disclose it in your board's report. What, sir? You need to give a comparison. People, shareholders, the public needs to know how much is the exact growth of a normal employee and a director in the company. Sir, meaning what? Now, how many ever are the employees in the company? Yeah, you need to write their details in the ascending order. Sir, first, whoever is your lowest, basically whoever is your least to highest. Yes, sir, by least to the highest. Assume in my company there were 5 employees. Sir, one person was paid 20,000. Sir, 30,000. Sir, 40,000. Sir, 50. Sir, 60. So, a person for my company, now this is called as median remuneration. Median remuneration of employee. Median remuneration of employee. So now what does the law say? This you need to disclose in your board's report. Only this, sir, you need to give a comparison. How much percentage? Now say for example, this was in year 2020, next year 2021. Again, how many ever employees are there? Again, calculate the median in the next year. There will be a median. Assume in the next year the median is 50,000. You need to calculate what was the increase, how much percentage has been increased. And in the same way, for your managerial remuneration, you calculate your managers, directors, their remuneration. You need to compare it with the percentage of increase of a median employee. Sir, how much your employees' salaries are going up and how much are normal persons, the director, the managing director, whole-time director, how much increase are you giving it to them? They are the decision makers. They can take whatever they want. What about the employees? Give a comparison. And this has to be disclosed in your director's report. Sir, what and all? See here. Every listed company, listed alone, shall disclose in its board's report the ratio of remuneration of each director to the median employee's remuneration. So, sir, for example, Assume if I take Nandan Nilekani's salary, I'm just giving you an example. Assume if it is 1 crore. Compare it with the median employee salary. Assume if it is somewhere around 5 lakh rupees. So come up with a ratio. Sir, 1:20. Basically 20:1. So sir, basically he is getting 20 times more than a median person's remuneration. So give a comparison. This is a ratio. Give it to every director's salary with median employee's salary. Compare it with, now there is one more person, some other director, assume some other whole-time director. His salary divided by the median remuneration. Again, so come up with a ratio. This has to be disclosed in your board's report. Yes, sir. So the ratio of remuneration of every director to the median remuneration of employees of the company. Sir, the percentage increase of each director, CFO, CEO, CS and manager, and the percentage increase of the median remuneration of employee. How much these people's remuneration is increased, how much our median remuneration has been increased, the percentage. After that, compare that percentage. Sir, directors have received 50% increase. Sir, median remuneration, how much, sir? Hardly 10%, 20%. So you need to give a comparison. Yes, sir. So, sir, meaning of the median. Sir, if it's an odd number, very easy to pick. I will easily pick the middle one. Sir, what if it is an even number? So assume if there is 70,000 also. There are 6 numbers. Sir, whenever there is 6 number, what to do? Always pick the middle numbers divided by 2. Clear? So, sir, if it is 1, 2, 3, 4, take the 2 middle numbers divided by 2 will be my median in case of even number of employees. Odd number, simple. I'll take the middle one. Even number, I'll add the between 2 numbers and I will take the median divided by 2. Okay, sir. Now, sir, okay, first thing you are telling we need to give the median and the ratio of comparison between the increase of our managerial person's remuneration compared to our median employee's remuneration. Also, you need to disclose in your board's report the top 10 employees' name in terms of remuneration. Sir, all my employees, in that who gets the top 10 salary, I need to disclose their names also. And in addition to that, so top 10 I will give and name of every employee. In addition to that, sir, if at all there is any other employee who gets 1.02 crore salary in a year, this is in a year. Sir, 1 crore 2 lakhs, don't read it as 20 lakhs. 1 crore 2 lakhs salary if any employee gets, even his name should be written. Sir, I need to write all top 10 employees. In addition to that, if there is an employee who gets more than 1.2 crore, sir, meaning minimum 1.2 crore, if he gets, then his name should also be given. Sir, this is per year, per annum, not per month. Sir, per annum. Sir, what if he's employed for the part of the year? So if any employee who is employed for the part of the year, then if he is getting a salary of 8,50,000 rupees or more, basically 1.2 crore divided 1.02 crore divided by 12, you will get 8,50,000. 8.5 lakh. Yes, sir. So if any person is getting 8.5 lakh per month, this is if he is employed throughout the year. This is if he is employed in the part of the year. So if he is getting 9 lakh, assume per month, disclose his name also. Sir, or if at all there is an employee, sir, Mahan Baba, if he is getting more remuneration than a managing director and holds himself or along with his spouse, children, not less than 2% of the equity shares of the company. Sir, third condition, I should get money more than a managing director. Sir, and me or along with my children, so everyone's shareholding in this company, sir, should not be less than 2% of the equity shares of the company. If yes, even his name should be disclosed. So, sir, what should be disclosed? Sir, what is the ratio of the director's remuneration to the median employee's remuneration? Arrange it in the ascending order, basically from less to higher number. Sir, now median employee remuneration, take it, compare it with every director and come up with a ratio. Disclose it in board's report. Sir, what is the increase in the director's remuneration and increase in the median employee's remuneration, compare. Sir, not only that, you need to disclose the top 10 employees remuneration and such employees remuneration who is getting per year 1.02 crore if employed throughout the year. Sir, and such employees who are getting 8.5 lakh or more if you are employed for the part of the year. Sir, or if there is any employee who is getting paid more than your managing director, whole-time director, manager, and he should also hold, if he is not holding this condition will not apply, and he should hold together or alone together with his children and spouse. How much, sir? Sir, 2% of the equity shares of the company. Then his details should be disclosed in the board's report. Yeah, so along with his name, you need to disclose his experience. When did he join? Sir, what is his age? What was his last employment? How much was he paid? Everything should be disclosed in that board's report. Clear? Pakka? All of you? Okay, sir. Sir, 197.14 says, sir, there is Flipkart. Sir, there is Myntra. Sir, assume there is Walmart. Sir, for Flipkart's director, if he is getting remuneration from Walmart or if he is getting remuneration from Myntra also, in addition to what Flipkart gives, he is absolutely fine. He is allowed to take it, provided it needs to be disclosed in the director's report. Sir, remuneration in addition to whatever the company pays, he can get it over and above. He can get it from the holding company or subsidiary company, just that he needs to disclose it in the director's report. Sir, if any person makes any non-compliance in this particular section, he will be liable under section 197 subsection 15, rupees 1 lakh. So the company shall be liable for a penalty of 5 lakh rupees. Sir, this provision shall not apply to a government company and also to a private company also. I told you, not the entire section, but initially only we wrote that. Correct? Yes, agreed. Huh. So, sir, I have given you this thing. So, what we have done part 1. Sir, conditions of appointment, 19 acts, sir, 21 and all that, coffee posa and all. Sir, part 2. Panam, sir, Duddesh Kodli, sir, Dabbul Entiyali. Yeah, sir. How much should I pay to the person? Section 1, when you have money. Sir, section 2, when you don't have money. This is what we have seen. These 3 things we are yet to see. Yes, so that is what we are seeing here. Yes, okay, sir. Yes, sir. We'll see. Let us continue it in our tomorrow's class. Yes, okay, sir.